everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Original Art Hour. This is the show where we sit down with other original comic art collectors, take a look at a little bit of artwork from their collection, share a few stories, and talk about the art side of the comic book collecting hobby that we love so much. And joining me for this episode number 38 of the series is my friend Jason over at Southern Comic Geek. What's up, Jason? Good to see you, man. Welcome.
What's going on? Thanks for having me on. Look forward to showing off some art pieces today and running my trap
man.
I'm used to doing.
Hell yeah, dude. So, I mean, Jason, Southern Comic Geek, you've been in the community a while. You've been doing your channel. You've got your YouTube channel. You're on Instagram. For everybody watching, links to hit all of your Southern Comic Geek platforms and on social and YouTube are in the description below, as is the link to Jason's Comic Art Fans CAF gallery. So if you wanted to peruse through his art collection, you're more than welcome to do so through there as well. But yeah, make sure you go sub up Jason, Southern Comic Geek, follow him on Instagram, go support his channels. So let's say a quick hello to the chat, and then we're going to get right into your OA story and your OA collection. So I want to say a quick hello to Ruben. What's up, Ruben, in the chat? We got Unruly Simeon in the house. We got Andy E. We got Black Swamp Comics. Good to see you, bro. We got Steve, Geeks and Drinks in the house. We got Mark, Asian Funk Comics. Yeah, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate it. Ruben commenting on your great accent.
I don't have an accent.
We got David Barr in the house. What's up, David Barr? All right. Well, thank you all for hanging out at 7 o'clock Eastern on a Thursday here. So, Jason, original comic art. What is? You're a comic book guy. You're in the community. You're making your own content. We know you're a comic book collector. When did you start getting into the art side? And just give a little bit of an intro in your background as an art collector.
Sure. So when I got back into comic collecting about 3 years ago, I started frequenting cons, and something that was new to me was the idea of having a sketch cover, a blank sketch cover, because you know, when I was collecting before, they didn't have those, right? So I like the idea of having an original piece of art on a comic book, and so I started picking up sketches from the various people that I would meet at the cons and stuff like that. So eventually I kind of upgraded that idea into getting original comic book art. Bought a couple of pages, and it, like many other parts
sketch covers were your gateway drug into
and drug would be a good place.
I hear you.
And it's a very expensive thing, you know, because I figured because I'm
more expensive than drugs.
Yeah. I'm largely a run collector, so in collecting, you know, these large comic book runs that I have, you know, I was like, how can it be any more expensive? But when you start looking at the wonderful art, and you know, we're going to show some that's just nothing compared to, you know, galleries like yourselves or other ones like that.
We all of us feel a certain inadequacy about our own collections, regardless of what level we're at as collectors of things. It's always going to be the case, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good background, man. I appreciate you wanting to come on and share. Not everybody's into that concept. So let's start looking at your artwork. So Jason sent me 30 pieces to look at for tonight. But like we said earlier, if you want to look at the rest of his collection, link to his Comic Art Fans galleries in the description below. But we're gonna cycle through the 30 that he chose to share here tonight on the show, and we're gonna start with this amazing one right here.
Yes, an amazing one. If you're a fan of the 90s X-Men show, you like this look of Rogue, and it is very J. Scott Campbell-esque.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just a common glance, one might think that, yeah, that's who this is. But it's actually a guy on Instagram whose name is extremely escaping me right now. So, but I'd seen
this is in your CAF gallery, right? So you'd have the artist credit over there.
Yeah. That's right. And I had seen him do several sketches. Watched him live. Geraldo Neto maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'd watched him do several sketches live. I reached out to him, and he was just so unbelievably reasonable and cheap, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this wonderful piece. He's from South America and mailed it, and actually sent me some signed prints of some other original art he had done too for free. And just it was a nice experience, and just a great look for Rogue there.
Yeah, it definitely gives me some J. Scott Campbell vibes. Gives me some Mark Brooks vibes a little bit as well, in a way. Somehow I connect those dots. But yeah, it's a great piece, and it's awesome to support, like, I guess what you would call not big name artists only. You know what I mean? To go explore out there. There's so many great independent artists out there that you can get pieces from and art that you love. So to Ruben's point as well. What's up, Jeff Wedding in the house? Welcome. Yeah, man, great first piece, man. So do you anything else you want to say about that one, or do you want me to move on?
No, it's just giving me a lot of nostalgic vibes.
Yeah.
And so my daughter's name is Anna Marie, which is what Rogue's name is. Rogue's from Mississippi. So yeah, it was funny hearing somebody that talked like people that I know back in the 90s. So yeah, this is the Rogue look that I like the best. So
awesome. All right, so the next slide. What is this? Is this part of slide 3 as well, or is this its own thing?
Yeah, it is, because the original cover actually has this as the heading, but it's all art. So yeah, it's just kind of connected.
So do you want me to show 3 real quick and go back and forth a little bit while you talk?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there's slide 3. That's like the homage cover, and then there's the trade dress part, right?
Right. Yeah. So, instead of putting a stat or something like that for the wording, this was all original art. And so this piece came with that one.
Right.
And this is a great Hulk one homage. I'm a Hulk collector. I have the complete set of Hulk 1 till forward. And I'm a big Valiant guy. For those of you who visited my calf or watched my channel, you know that as well. So you got Archer and Armstrong. You got his brother Ivar in the back, Eternal Warrior there, which is his other brother. Just a great page for a more recent comic. And I bought this directly from the artist. And I have several pieces from this same guy, Edwards. Let's see, Jeff Edwards, I think his name. I'm horrible with names. Yeah, Jeff.
No worries, dude. Yeah, the hand drawn trade dress is a cool touch, for sure.
Yeah, so I was keeping with the same fonts and stuff for the Hulk one. So yeah, and nice. So I just put them together.
Cool. Do you display that like in any way, or is that you just put that in a portfolio or something?
No, that one's in a portfolio. They're beside each other, so I know that they're connected, kind of like with a DPS or something. My walls are pretty full right now. My daughter is actually fixing to get married, so there'll be another room in the house that'll be available to me. So I'll have some more room.
There you go. You got
more room for some art.
Carving out your art space already. I love it. All right. Nice, dude. All right. Well, next one up here is this one.
Yeah. So this is from Armorines. This is the second series of Armorines. Issue 2, Jim California. Yeah. He's a real nice guy. I met him in Dallas, but I bought this from another person in the hobby, Brian Wells, or Shadow Sip is what he goes by. And so it's signed by Jim. And Jim did a lot of the early Valiant stuff. Really like his art, just a solid artist. And the spider aliens was a nice touch. And you see them multiplying, coming through the doors up there. Multiplying, which they're like one of the big bads of the Valiant universe.
Ruben's saying you look like a really, strapping young lad here, that you're not old enough to have a daughter.
Well, thank you, Ruben. Thank you. I am rather young. I got married young, and so my daughter is 20.
There you go.
My oldest daughter is 20. So yeah.
And we've got Sleepy Reader 666 Damien in the house. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right, well, awesome. This next piece, I gotta say, probably is one of my favorites because I also collect Batman, as you know. I'm a fellow Batman fan.
Yeah.
and Superman for that matter. But yeah, amazing.
So, yeah, Neil Adams. I mean, if you're a Batman fan, I just don't see how. Yeah, and you're an art collector, right? I just don't see any collection not being complete without a Neil Adams piece of some kind or another. Of course, he's since passed on from us, and so they've gotten even more expensive. But I bought this over on Comic Art Live.
Mm-hmm.
Bill was doing a show with Neil's family, and they put
this. I caught a little bit of that. Yep.
And that's when I bought this. And I went to their website, and they had it listed for a lot more expensive than what I paid for it that night. And so this was just Batman and Superman squaring off. They said that Neil just, kind of done this, sitting at a show. And it really reminds me of a World's Finest issue that Neil done the cover for, where Batman's punching Superman with kryptonite gloves. And so, I wanted a Neil Adams Batman and Superman piece, and I got both of them put together. So this one is actually going to be hitting the wall pretty soon.
I was kind of wondering about that. I think Jeff's making a joke there about Batman having the Infinity Gauntlet, but it kind of does look like that.
It does. It does.
Kind of does, yeah. At least from a distance,
Sure.
Great piece though. To have them like face to face, head squaring up like that. That's by Neil is pretty damn fucking cool, man.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, congrats on that one. Awesome. All right, next up, this is Alan Bellman, right? One of the co-creators of Captain America.
Yeah. So he was with Timely back in the day with Jack and Stan and all them, and
Joe. Let's not forget Joe Simon.
That's right. So and just a nice person, of course. And then the thing about this was, and again, going back to the origin story of art, was this is one of the earlier sketch pieces that I got done. And I met him at GalaxyCon in November of 2019, got him to do this. He said, man, this is going to take me all day. I'm like, well, I'm going to be here tomorrow. It's no big deal. He calls me from the con floor like an hour later. He said, I'm done. Well, wow. Okay. So I went over there, and as enjoyable as the art is, it was just the experience of meeting him and talking about old times and stuff of that nature. And then, of course, he passed away, I think, in February of 2020.
Yeah.
Shortly thereafter that. So one of the benefits of meeting the creators rather, at the cons is that the conversations that you have. So this is one of my favorite pieces for that very reason.
Nice. And so this was probably like earlier on, you said prior to 2020 when you were getting more into the sketch cover side of things?
Yeah. So my youngest daughter is 3, and I started getting back into collecting like a couple of months before she was born. So I got this in November 2019.
There you go.
So yeah, that kind of tells you I was getting to the sketch covers, and it wasn't until like say 2021 when I started really getting into the art pages side of the thing. Yeah.
Speaking of art pages, here this looks like we have a double page published piece right here, right?
Yeah. This is from
Beta Ray.
Beta Ray Bill, and just a great action. Him going up against one of Galactus's other
Heralds.
Heralds, thank you. Him going up against Galactus and Herald. I mean, just Ben breaks his hand out of his mouth at one point. I mean, it's just it was an awesome action page. I like the Beta Ray. If I'm going to pick a Thor, I would rather pick Beta Ray as opposed to the regular Thor. So,
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah. And so the artist really just captured all of that. I actually am looking at getting some more pages out of this same series.
And who is the artist on this book again?
Oh goodness, there you go.
Sorry, I don't mean to quiz you on that. But I didn't look it up. I didn't look it up in advance. I just made slides.
So I'll look it up.
No worries. We'll figure that out. But we can move on to the next one. In the meantime, this is the 8th piece. Lots of stuff going on this piece. I was wondering if I should zoom in on that middle area or not, if it would be
Yeah. So
confusing.
yeah, the Stormbreaker issue 4 was Andrea DeVito.
Andrea DeVita. So that's this one, right?
Yeah.
The double
Yep.
page. Okay,
That's
gotcha.
it.
Okay,
So,
cool. Well, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is the more recent blood shot.
There you go. Ruben chimed in as well with the name Andrea DeVita.
Look at that, Ruben, with all that knowledge, just calling it off just like that. But so Brett Booth, who when I look at Brett Booth's art, I think Image. I think that classic Image style, of the '90s, and so he did this series. And just everything that was going on in this, that character there that's touching Bloodshot, she made his powers do that kind of thing, and it was just amazing, all of the action that was going on that one page. And I wanted a Brett Booth piece, so this allowed me to tickle that Valiant want, as well as getting a Brett Booth piece, and the action was just an extra plus for sure.
Did he do the inking as well, or was this
I believe overhead? Well, no, he didn't do the inking. I take that back. Let me pull that up, but
yeah, no worry about it.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And that's just what really grabs me. And that it's a piece of art. Sometimes it's nostalgia that, at least for me, sometimes it's nostalgia, which can get very expensive if you're of a certain age or older.
Totally. Especially if your nostalgia is in the 90s or older.
Right? I mean, yeah, don't even think about like Joe Mad X-Men pages or something like that, man. It just gets
I mean, I'm not familiar with this story, so I wouldn't know the answer to that question.
That's Bloodshot.
Bloodshot, okay.
Yeah, that's Bloodshot.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, if you're wanting like because I'm looking at some Ages of Apocalypse, which is one of my want list. Man, that stuff ain't cheap. That stuff ain't cheap.
Yeah. 90s X-Men is not very easy right now, for sure. But that's a cool one, dude. All right, so we're next one is this one's a lot more up my alley as far as character stuff. But yeah, let's talk about this one. This one's badass.
Yeah, Ivan Rice. This is Brightest Day. Just a great Swamp Thing page, and
so cool.
I found this one on eBay, and just the action that was going on. I really like the Brightest Day storyline, and so with this Swamp Thing, I like Ivan's work. I wanted a Swamp Thing piece. I like the storyline, and look at the bottom up under the feet, all the detail.
Cool. Yeah.
All the people that are there, some that are all up in the middle of his legs, some are right under his legs. I mean, just the detail that went into it was just crazy amazing. And so, yeah, I saw it, was able to pick it up at a good price on the FeeBay.
Now, good eye on that one, like especially for an eBay find. Like in the current environment on eBay, I don't find a ton on there anymore. So when you can find something and for a decent price, it's definitely considered a win, and that's a great page.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking for that page or that artist at that moment. But whatever I had, eBay suggested it, and I'm like, wow, yeah, this is something I want to be able to pick up.
That's a nice one, dude. Congrats. All right. Another classic artist doing a classic character of theirs that they're associated with?
For sure. Sal Buscema. So another person in the community knew that I was a Hulk fan, knew I wanted a Sal piece, and the website that handles that for him was doing a drop. And I guess he got a notification of it. So he messages me on IG. He said, dude, they're doing a drop. Get on there because these things are usually picked up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I just happened to look at my messages and saw it, looked on there, sent the message, and the guy answers me back and says, hey, somebody already beat you to it. We'll see if they want to keep it. They did not, so I was able to pick this one up. But yeah, this era of Hulk is just very nostalgic for me. Sal Buscema. And if you remember the Hulk cartoon from the 80s, That look of Hulk is really Sal, the Sal
Yeah.
look. And so I remember watching that cartoon. So it was a
Great, no,
nostalgia.
great example, and very much classically in line with his version of the character. So that's a
Yeah, and I've been wanting to pick up a Sal page, but what you were saying about the hobby in general,
the pages are getting harder for sure. I've noticed with the Sal Hulk pages. Yeah.
and one just escaped me on Heritage yesterday.
On the weekly.
Yeah, and I was there's every drop with Heritage, there's usually two or three that I'm like, let me lean heavy on, and then as you get closer to the end, you have to say, at least I do, I'm gonna go for this one.
Yeah, sure.
You have to make a choice at some point.
Yeah,
you just can't get them all. But
very familiar with that decision-making process in real time with Heritage. Yeah. difficult sometimes to
it
be
is
like,
difficult
all right,
because it's like, okay, which child do you save, right?
exactly.
How do you make that decision? It's tough, and when you're not talking about a book that like the variant of the week that there's going to be 100 of them on eBay.
Yeah.
Next week. You're talking about something that's one of a kind.
We're talking about $9,000 interior pages, it seems now recently, like for Sal pages sometimes. I don't know exactly what page that was and what the content was. I'm sure it was awesome, but that's a lot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I really like to pick up a Dale Keown page.
That's tough too. Yeah, very tough. All right, well, let's move on to your 11th piece. Talk about this one.
So this is the last page of this issue of Extermination. Quick story on Extermination. So Ahab and these other baddies are taking over the minds of the X-Men, and they're trying to kill the original X-Men that were brought back from in time to the forward. So Cable's younger self kills the older Cable, which I wasn't a fan of that part of the series, but I was a fan of them getting rid of the younger X-Men that had been brought back from the past.
Right.
And this was the way they were kind of correcting that. And so in this last page of the panel, Ahab throws that spear, and you think that he kills Cyclops, which kind of ruins everything because they all five have to go back. And so it's kind of the cliffhanger last page, but you find out, spoiler alert, that it's actually Mimic that he kills.
Okay.
And so, but Dexter Vines actually inked this. This is actually over Blue Line, so we won't get into the Blue Line discussion.
Yeah, we've been there plenty of times.
Yeah, you were on Ruben's channel.
Oh God,
the show I was watching, and I'm like, they're gonna spend all night talking
on a show that was supposed to be about nothing that ended up being about blue lines. But
I bought this directly from Dexter Vines, who's a really nice guy. He's in the South too. He's in Atlanta, so a couple states over from me. But yeah, so I bought this off of his website, and I really like the suspense and a lot of.
I like his deep inks and just his style also as an inker. So
yeah, it's a lot of characters on the page too. So and the page, because it was Blue Lines, I guess, wasn't all that expensive.
Awesome. All right, well, this next one, I'm a huge fan of the artist. This is a Jose Delbo, right?
Yeah. So this is another recent eBay pickup. I did not have anything of Jose Delbo, and I don't know if I was searching for his work or as one of those other algorithmic, suggestions.
Yeah.
But I threw it up there, and for what it was going for, I was like, man, I just couldn't pass it up, and just love the colors that were used on there. It just really pops on that little white board that it's on. And gave me a chance to own some Delbo, won't break the bank. And
I would love personally I would love a Delbo Wonder Woman page or something that I could track down at some point. But that's been, I think, not crazy, but not cheap either.
Well, and if everybody's got their own way of collecting. Some collect characters, some collect artists, etc. But and that was the kind of the thing that originally drew me to the sketch cover side of the original art hobby, was the affordability, because some
Yeah,
of those pages have gotten so expensive. And so I think that as they continue to rise, things like this are going to be, the easy access to get people into the hobby.
accessibility
Yep.
period. Just to have people, entering the hobby is an important thing. So I agree with that. All right, this is a Del Otto Batman pencil. So this is an interesting one. I like this one.
Yeah, so I picked this up off of CAF. And if you in the art for sale by member classifieds. And
Mhm.
so the guy had it up for sale, and I told him, I said, I'm pretty hard on this price point. He come back, he said, look, only really I'm selling it is because I'm trying to get another piece. I was like, yeah, okay, the story of our lives, we just buy, sell, to buy other stuff. But and so I was able to pick this up, and he got it to me, and I want a Del Auto piece.
Nice.
Love his cover work, and again, just the accessibility, availability of.
Yeah, his paintings are pretty redunculous, and his published covers and stuff like that, as far as price. So, kudos finding something that's in a category you collect is a cool piece, and something that you could afford at the same time. So, very
Right.
nice.
Yeah, this one eventually is going to hit the wall too. Um,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, your 14th piece, and back to the sketch cover examples here.
Yeah, so I really like homages when I'm getting sketch covers. And so Rags Morales, who was an artist in the early days of Turok, and of course did some DC work as well. Met him at Huntsville Comic Con and said, hey, I want the Eternal Warrior doing the Wolverine 1 homage. So, uh, and he just nailed it. I mean,
Awesome.
just nailed it with the blood dripping from the axe, the look of the
I
Eternal
thought
Warrior.
I thought he was flipping the bird as well when I first was going through all the files that you sent me. I'm like, is that a
Yeah,
middle finger? No, oh, wait.
it's like, what is he doing here? Oh yeah, so this was a piece that I got him to do for me at a Comic Con last year, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's interesting to see pencil only comic sketch covers, because
Mhm.
that's kind of a I haven't seen too many examples of that on this show that people have brought. So very cool. Usually get either very colorful or at least
Mhm.
inked, sketch
Well,
covers.
and it just depends on to me, it just depends on the artist. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes you lose a lot with the inks on there. Uh,
right. Like
and so
depth and
sometimes the
stuff.
pencils display better.
Yeah, totally. Great job on this one though. So nice one. All right, and your 15th piece right here. And after this one, we're gonna pause. I'll show a few pieces, and then we'll kick it back to you.
Awesome. This is what I call the Freddie Mercury
Mhm.
page. This is my first Miko page. This is a
Miko
page from
Swine.
Bloodshot. And so down there at the bottom, you see that one where in the Valiant 2 universe, um, he gained the ability to kind of be like the chameleon.
Mhm.
And so he's changing to look like one of those guards, but he looks like Freddie Mercury to me. And
Totally
so,
looks like Freddie Mercury there. Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking "We Are the Champions." I mean, the song's going off in my head when I was looking at this on eBay, and so yeah, I got so I picked this up. I wanted a Miko page, um, and it just got a chuckle out of me with the Freddie Mercury deal. So it was an added plus.
Yo, what's up, Chad Barbarian Kung Fu in the house? Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining the chat. No, that's awesome, dude. Not only do you have Freddie Mercury, but you have some incredibly detailed Miko Swine pencils, and he's incredibly talented.
Yeah, and the Bloodshot stuff that I was looking at, the other Miko stuff, it didn't have Bloodshot with his trademark
Hmm.
Bloodshot, right? Whatever, he was either disguised as somebody else or whatever. In the storyline, he loses the nanite. Spoiler alert! But So at some point he gets them back. But in this one, it was perfectly displayed right there as he's crouching over there. So this one checked a lot of blocks off for me. What's up, Barbarian Kung Fu?
Yeah, good to see Barbarian in the chat. There he is. Thanks for watching, Chad. All right, well, cool. We're making good pace here, good time on our original art hour. So I'm going to share a few pieces of my boring art, and then we'll get back to you.
All right.
I only brought three pieces to share tonight. I try to match a little bit of what my guests are bringing if I can, and I think I matched up a little bit by bringing a Swamp Thing piece because you brought a couple Swamp Thing pieces. For the other two pieces that I brought, I don't know if they're directly related to what you brought per se, but because it's the month of October, I kind of went with like maybe this is arguably Halloween related or spooky-ish related. Swamp Thing fits that as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's kind of the theme I have. It's a very loose theme, but I'm going to start with this page. This is page number 2 of issue number 1 of a book on Image Comics called Rumble. So the artist is James Herron. He's one of the Felix Comic Art artists, and this is a very interesting indie book on Image. That's kind of like the way I would describe it is like fantasy adventure or fantasy thriller in a way. But this page kind of has a lot of creepy elements with this whole Paul Bunyan land thing and like crazy eyes at the top and just a lot of crazy, like very kind of, I don't know, out there details. And I really enjoy how James uses the whole page. Like he uses the whole page to craft the piece of artwork, regardless of the sort of published area, right? I didn't go get a scan of the actual published colored image next to it, which I probably should have, but I just really enjoy this page. Not a page that was going to break the bank. It's from an indie book. No, big 2 characters on it or anything like that. But yeah, Heron is amazing. Very, very talented. This was a great book, especially when he was on, like with what Andy was saying. So yeah, haven't shared this one before on the show. So that's number 1 for me on my shares. Number 2, Punisher. He's got a big skull on his chest, right? That's Halloween-ish, right? That's a little spooky. So I kind of put him into that spooky category just because of his costume, really. But carrying that big ass gun. This is the splash page to Punisher issue number 81. And the artist is Hong Wen. He was a Vietnamese comic artist that did a bunch of work for Marvel in the 80s and 90s, I believe. And then he went on to do all sorts of work for like video game companies and things like that. He's still a video game artist today. But yeah, this is the page 1 title splash to Punisher issue number 81. For whatever reason, Punisher issue number 81, I can't find on any digital comic app. So like I wanted to get the published image, side by side with the splash page image, but I have to actually go find my floppy copy and then take a scan of the first page, and that's my only, because it's not on digital, so I can't just copy and paste it from a digital, which is kind of inconvenient. But I love this splash, love this Punisher page right here. I've got a lot of pages from this story. Actually, I got this whole story. So, but this is the page 1 splash, which is probably the more impressive piece or page from this story. So yeah, wanted to share that one. So hope you guys enjoyed seeing that. And then last but not least, alluding to the thumbnail, alluding to some of the pages that Jason brought to share from his collection related to Swamp Thing. This is the page 2 and 3 double page splash from The Swamp Thing issue number 8, 2021. This was, The Swamp Thing by Ram V and Mike Perkins was by far my favorite big 2 title in 2021 and 2022. I absolutely love the story. I love the artwork. I own, I want to say 28 pages from The Swamp Thing total, like across maybe 4 different issues, including the complete issue number 8, which is this is the double page spread. That actually page one is like, this is the third issue of a 3-part crossover with Suicide Squad. So like Peacemaker was in this, Chemo, as you can see here, you got Swamp Thing battling Chemo. Parasite was in this. But yeah, this was a great battle issue in general. A lot of different battles in this issue. But yeah, this In My Infancy Part 3 DPS is mind-boggling. Yeah, thanks, Ruben. I wonder where I found all this great Mike Perkins Swamp Thing arc. Obviously, we're being a little bit coy about or sarcastic. Mike Perkins, of course, is represented by Ruben, the collector, a good buddy of mine in the hobby, and yeah, he represents him and all of his art sales. So kudos to Mike, and shout out to Ruben as well. But yeah, I absolutely love this DPS right here. Probably my favorite page in a book that I have plenty of other pages that I love. And then here's the publish, just real quick, if you want to get a color reference as to what it looks like in the book versus the original art. But yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure.
Oh
so,
yeah, man, that's awesome.
So thanks, guys. Appreciate you enjoying me sharing those few pieces. But we're going to get back to Jason's artwork here with his 16th piece, and we got a Ramita Senior.
Yeah, so this has got a lot going on here. So I bought this from a guy who is from Alabama. He was showing it off on his IG, and he does a lot of these. He goes to these cons and he gets artists to do stuff. So, and he's friends with the Ramita family. So he this Hulk and Wolverine, kind of a homage to the Hulk 181. He got the book signed by John Romita, as you see right there. Scott Hanna done the pencils, and Renee, I'm gonna butcher her last name, Witterstater, whatever her name is. She did the colors. Now, if that wasn't all enough to make this a talking piece, what's even more interesting is there's somebody that signed this book that you can't see it anymore because of that Kirby crackle.
Mm-hmm.
You want to guess whose signature's under there?
I can barely make it out. Like, I'm trying to look at it and make it out, but I can't tell what it is.
It's Stan Lee.
Oh, is it Stan Lee? Okay.
Renee whited over Stan Lee's name to put that crackle in it.
Interesting.
So I didn't know. He didn't tell me that when I first bought the book from him, and then
is that on the label? Was that on the label at the top as well, or no?
And so he saw me at a con the next year, and he said, "Dude, you know that's signed by Stan Lee too." I said, "Dude, what?" And so he tells me the story about it. And so as soon as I got home, I pulled it up, and you can see it when you're looking at it. And then, like real close to Wolverine's head, you can kind of see the S that's whited out. The whiteout's coming through the red.
Yeah.
And so Stan Lee had signed it, and she colored over it.
Interesting. All right. Some people probably would like that. Other people probably not so much, but that's a good story either way.
So that's my only Stan Lee signature.
Stan would have re-signed it on his face. Yeah, probably.
The older Stan Lee, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. All right. Moving on to your next one here. Another published page.
Yeah. So this is from the
Bagley, right?
Yeah, this is Bagley and Scott Hanna on the inks. This is a page from the first Hulk movie adaptation. So the Eric Bana Hulk movie. So don't hold that against him. Yeah. So yeah.
I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that movie so much. I never read the comic adaptation though. Necessarily.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about this page right here, and I found this at Dragon Con a couple of months ago, and Bagley and Hannah were there. Just so happened to be there, so I took it over to them and got them to sign it there too. But was the transformation down there at the bottom? Because like right there at the bottom, he's done hit his head, and now his eyes turn green. If you watched the Bill Bixby show back in the day, you knew that's when the crap was about to hit the fan, man. And Lou, he's about to transform. Lou's fixed to come out, and there's going to be some stuff flying. And that was why I was like, wow, I just got to pick up this page. And I really want to get the second page where he actually is transformed. It showed him transformed, which I've got another transformation page that we're going to show tonight. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we also
I think it's the next one up.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I had one that was supposed to be coming. I bought off a seller off a calf, and it's coming from Spain. and it's a transformation piece, very similar, except he transforms and he has that glowing eye look, all on the same page, and it's from a Avengers Harley Davidson comic.
Okay.
And so, but alas, it was not meant to be tonight. So we'll see it another time. But yeah, that's the reason why I picked up this page.
Okay, cool. And then so here's that other transformation that we just
Joe
alluded to.
Bennett.
Pretty gnarly one. Awesome, man.
Oh yeah, man. And I wish I could have got a better picture than the one I did. Unfortunately, I did not see my stuff prior to it getting framed in museum glass.
Right.
Yeah, this is a page from Immortal Hulk 16. These are the pencils, and just the Wham. You know, Bruce is wearing a Wham shirt, man. You know, wake me up before we go. You know, and yeah, in the middle, just that transformation. It's just like you could read all the pain and agony of transforming. You know, from little old Bruce Banner into the Green Goliath, and I really liked, especially the first part of the Immortal Hulk series, because it really had that horror vibe to it.
I was gonna say, like, this is one of the most appropriate for Halloween pages, for sure.
Yeah. So it really had that horror vibe that he started off with back in the day, and so I really dug it for that reason. But yeah, I saw this page, and so yeah, got to pick it up, and it was one of the first to hit the wall. See, Ruben the Collector is now Ruben the Rapper, you know. So
Ruben the Rapper. All right, next piece up, we got more pencils to look at.
Yeah, so this is
is this a prelim?
No, this is the pencils.
Oh, okay, the published pencils. Okay.
Yeah, published pencils. So this is the cover to the Infinite Crisis Omnibus, and so they scanned this in, and it was inked digitally.
Okay.
So,
got it.
So yeah, this is the original pencils for this, and so saw Phil at Dallas Fan Expo a few months ago, and he had this piece here, and it was just a great piece that had the DC Trinity of sorts, with a lot of other characters laying around there. So I was able to get all three of them all on one page, and kind of like what we were talking about with the Neil Adams. It's just, you know, the more characters, popular characters, the more action. You know, those pages just keep bumping up, right? So
yeah,
you know, to be able to get all three of them right there on a published cover. So
yeah, I probably should have put the published image on the right so you could see what it looks like.
Yeah, and this is
my bad.
This is one of those that the pencils are really light, so you don't get all of the effect, especially like with the people. If you want to put the camera on me,
there you go.
Yeah, so
there you go. There's the book. Yeah.
This is the omnibus here, and so you can see the Earth. Was it one of the other Superman, Connor, Kent, just various different people laying around in the ashes, which I enjoyed the Infinite Crisis storyline.
Nice. I'm going to put the art back up once real quick so people can get a frame of reference. But yeah, nice. All right. Well, we got another legendary artist up next. This is a Jerry Robinson piece, right?
It is. So co-creator of the Joker and Robin. And so they I bought this on Dueling Dealers from Mr. Are You Kidding Me, Ramita Man. And he put this up one night, and I was able to snag it. So he gave me an early piece from one of the Batman creators, which Batman is one of the people that are characters that I collect on the comic side, and to be able to have, you know, somebody that was so instrumental during his early years, a piece from him. This is about the only way you're going to afford it, right? So
yeah, and it's about the only way that something will exist for you to get too.
Yeah.
You know, from the Golden Age era, there's not much published material out there to go after. So yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that could have made this better was like if my name was Jerry or.
Sure. Whenever your name can match up with the personalization, it's always great. Unfortunately, unfortunately, not a lot of other Kavis running around these artist alleys. and stuff. So like if I go after a piece like that, it'll never work out for me. You know. But I hear you, man. No, that's a cool one. I still need to get a Jerry Robinson example in the collection. I got a Shelley Moldoff, who's also instrumental.
Yeah. Well, and talking about Moldoff, there's one I've been looking at of him in the Batcave that I've really been eyeing. And there was one that's on Heritage right now of got Batman and fighting the Joker and the Penguin. And so that's another one I've been eyeing. But yeah, myself as well. That's what I want. So
good luck, man. I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to find one. A lot of these guys obviously aren't around anymore making new stuff, but there's at least have a good amount of stuff out there in circulation from previous conventions and stuff like that. But
sure.
Anyway, moving on to your 21st piece, we got more published artwork. Let's talk about this one.
Yeah, so this is the last issue of Turok from Whitman is publishing it. It's issue 130. The honker was going after Turok in this page. I bought this off of Anthony Snyder's website with a couple of other pieces, and that's actually you were talking about digital copies earlier. When I did all this, I just pulled my comics out.
I see that that's a floppy scan. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So because I like to have the comics of the original art. So
totally, I'm the same way, man. Yep.
So, but anyway, so yeah, love me some Turok. I've got about 200 copies of Turok #1, the Valiant copy. I said if chromium ever becomes a rare metal, I'll be rich. but yeah, so I have several.
Invest in chromium futures.
That's right. Between all the Valiant XO, Man of War, the Bloodshot Zero. All those ones, I pick them up if I can find them on the cheap.
Yeah.
So this was one from the Whitman days. It was the last issue of that series, and so I was able to pick it up fairly inexpensive. So it was a added bonus.
Very nice.
And
yeah. No one's ever heard of this guy, Mr. Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, feet not included in this sketch. But yeah, so Liefeld, of course, during that late 80s and early 90s, obviously was drawing a lot of stuff that I was reading at the time. So he was one of those that I wanted to get something on the list. Like we were saying earlier, that stuff's getting pretty pricey. So the sketch cover is about the lowest bar of entry there. So he was advertising at New York Comic Con for like $1,300, I think, for his sketches. But he sells on Whatnot. So he was doing mystery boxes, and I waited to the last mystery box, so I knew that Wolverine was the one I was going to get.
Oh, wow.
And everybody had done tapped out, and I got it for half the price. And he included in the mystery boxes other signed comics. So I just sold the signed comics because they were on
there. You go, and you offset the cost of the sketch. Nice.
And so I got this, and so he done his regular signature and then his blocky signature there. But really dug his Wolverine. There was a Cable one that he had. I really don't like his way he draws Cable now versus the way he used to do it. So probably would lean more, if I'm talking about new stuff, is Wolverine better.
Right.
So this was one that I was able to get.
Yeah, I don't have any Liefeld pieces in my collection. I'm in the same kind of boat where I would love something maybe Deadpool or X-Men related in general, but the published stuff is just bonkers. Like I would never go after those high price Liefelds. So
yeah, and like his art or not, he is very entertaining. And he is definitely a big, huge
and a huge OA hobby ambassador.
Oh yeah. I watched the show not too long ago that he did, I think last year before last, over on Comic Art Live, and some of the pages he's got is just like, wow.
Oh yeah, his collection, his burn stuff is unreal. But yeah, well, cool Liefeld. I think this next one might be one of. I mean, there's a few here that I would probably say are my favorites that you sent me, but this one's gorgeous. This Paul Smith right here.
So yeah, Paul Smith, loved his run in Uncanny X-Men, and as you saw with the first piece that we put up, I'm a Rogue fan. So
Yeah.
Anthony, Comic Art Fans, Dueling Dealers, he put it up one night, was able to snag it. So more of the Michael Golden type Rogue look. But I didn't have a Paul Smith piece in my collection. It was like, hey, let me snag that, and it's a Rogue.
I mean, his stuff is so clean and just beautiful. Yeah. I love it.
And yeah, I mean, he's definitely put all the detail and finishing touches on a sketch for sure.
Awesome. All right, moving on to your next one. We're making good time here. I love this. We're like right on track for like an hour-long show. This is perfect. So.
Yeah. So this is from Rye and the Future Force, and
this is the prelim on the left and the published on the right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see the little notes up there. You see the little notes up there that it came with. So this is the first page of that book. And so Ryan the Future Force in the 90s was probably my favorite, overall favorite Valiant title. If you look at my logo, actually the guy that done my logo, I gave him the Ryan the Future Force titling font from the covers. That's what it looks like, and that's the colors. Actually, people think, well, it has to do with turtles. That's just an added bonus. It was actually from Rye the Future Force. And so this is the issue where Rye's son is born. And one of the things that I liked about Valiant back in the day was the characters died and they stayed dead. New people took up the mantles, or new characters were made. And this is just one of those.
Story decisions were final.
That's right. And that's what I liked about it. And then, with this, the Maleeves, which are the bad robots, they're attacking, and Rye's son's fixing to be born. Of course, a couple of issues later, Rye dies. His son ends up becoming the new Rye. But yeah, so this is first page, and just really like that series, so I was able to pick it up on the cheap too.
Awesome, dude. All right, well, this next one I also really, really dig. This is Bart Sears.
Yep, Bart Sears. So Bart Sears, going back to the Valiant stuff, I mean, his Turok and Exo Manowar, I think that's how you're supposed to draw it, right? Yeah. And so this Anthony put this up on Dueling Dealers one night, and the cover, and I actually got a print of the printed cover where there's actually a dinosaur in the background. So at some point they, I don't know, digitally added it on or what, but and so I got this and Ron Mars, this series, which is done by Dynamite actually. Ron Mars done the story, and it's a Western. So met Ron Mars a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about this particular series because I got him to sign my comic of this cover. And he was talking about the series and how it was a little bit different than what some of the other Turok stories have been. But yeah.
Shout out to the Jackson Roykirk in the house, and ME Comics, and a few other people. Knights of Old was in here as well. Thanks for hopping on and watching, guys. We do appreciate it. All right, this is your 26th piece.
26th piece, some more Turok goodness. This is from Turok Yearbook. So Valiant had the idea of doing yearbook instead of annual, whatever. But this is Dave Cockrum. And to borrow the words of Mike Berkey, are you kidding me? So Dave Cockrum, love his X-Men work. Well, love his work, period. But I mean, obviously, especially in the X-Men. But that stuff's a little pricey. So I can get to the Turok page of his work. A little more reasonable.
Well, it's awesome that he also worked on Valiant, which is like your other major category, right? Or one of your other major categories.
Yeah. So that was definitely an added bonus to be able to pick this up. I've had the opportunity to pick up a couple more pages in this same issue. but just so many other things on the higher up the want list that I haven't been able to pick up the rest of these pages in this book.
All right. And then we got more pencils.
Yes. So this is a page from the Robert Venditti story of XO. So if you don't know anything about Valiant, you don't have to. Just pick up and you can get it digitally now for relatively inexpensive. But Robert Venditti wrote the whole series. That whole volume 3 is what it is. But he wrote that whole series, and that's a story on how you build characters in a comic book. Okay, it's the gradual character progression, not regression, that we see in a lot of comics today. But nevertheless, Diego Bernard did this. This is issue 37, pages 6 and 7. So all Eric or Arik, whatever way you want to say it, has assembled all the other people that have a copy of the XO armor, and they're going to battle. So then this is another one of those that the pencils are great and all, but the inks really would do it a better justice.
Right.
So yeah, this was great.
I mean, you asked about what I know about Valiant, or what about people in general know about Valiant. I know very little. I think probably know a little bit about the Rise stuff. Like I've had a little bit of exposure to it, and I know a little of the Archer and Armstrong, but like I am nowhere even close to a Valiant guy or expert. People like yourselves and Daymares, another guy who's been on the show and is a friend of ours, big Valiant collector. You guys are the experts for sure. Like I'm not even close to knowledgeable on Valiant compared to you guys, but it's really cool seeing all the artwork for sure, especially since it's stuff I'm less familiar with. But back to something I'm a little more familiar with. We've got more Swamp Thing.
Yes.
This is Yannick Paquette.
Yes. So met him at Dallas Fan Expo. And so before I made the mistake of mentioning on one of my YouTube shows that I was going to Dallas, and I was going through the list of artists that were going to be here, and I was kind of marking off who I was going to get books signed from and all that kind of stuff. And somebody says, you owe it to yourself to get Yannick to do a watercolor Swamp Thing. Mm-hmm. And so he was one of the first people that I sought out there, because that's kind of what I do on that first day of convention.
Yeah,
I get that stuff lined out.
Get your art in motion.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so in his case, I was able to watch most of this be done, because I would just kind of routinely go by the table, and he was just talking about the process and the watercolors and all that kind of stuff. And again, this is one of those pieces that means more just because, one, I was there when it was created and I talked to the creator and all the conversation back and forth. I actually posted that either on my IG or maybe on my YouTube channel, my conversation with him as he was sitting there doing that piece.
No, it's a great point, and I think artwork that you get at shows or you commission at shows especially they end up being very, very memorable to you long term, and those are the kind of pieces that would be harder to let go of. I feel, even though I haven't let go of a ton of art yet per se, but I've let go of a handful of art here and there. But yeah, I mean, the stuff I get at shows especially will because there's so many more memories associated with it.
Sure.
Like in-person memories. So yeah, I definitely identify with that. We've got 2 pieces left. We got one sketch cover, and then we're going to end on our banger, a huge banger. Stick around. Here we go. 29th piece. Talk about this.
All right. So this is where you start singing the song. I didn't tell you that.
Which song? Oh, is it a Transformers song that I'm not?
Yeah.
You've
got the touch. You got the power. You got
the power. Yeah, I remember you named the file that when you sent it to me.
Yeah. So they if you remember your childhood being ruined by Optimus's death, and you hated Rodimus Prime, maybe you've gotten over it by now since that's been so many years ago. But this was a piece that I got done during COVID. This is probably one of the first pieces where I commissioned an artist all through messages, and I actually sent him that sketch cover because he didn't have one of it. because I'm kind of a purist when it comes to my sketch covers. I want it like that says Transformers on it. I wouldn't get
it has to be related to the art you're getting.
Otherwise it's like cardinal sin or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I told him, I said, that moment where he opens the matrix of leadership, that's what I want. And every time that theme song comes on, that's what I want to think about. And so that's what he did. He nailed it. He did a lot of art for IDW and Transformers. He wrote Kill Lock. I don't know if you ever read Kill Lock before.
I'm familiar with the book. I haven't read it, but I think I have a couple issues of it randomly.
I think he wrote it, but I know he illustrated it. But I think he wrote it as well. And so he unlike Yannick, who hates robots and the blocky style, I think you pronounce his name Labo.
Okay.
Is maybe somebody in the chat can correct me.
I'm not sure. I'm really bad with pronunciations.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so he actually does robots an awful lot, and so he did this Transformers one for me.
What's up, JP's Budget Collecting in the house? No worries. Catch the rewind. This will be a prompt hour-long rewind. Thanks to Jason for being prepared and prompt with his artwork explanations. I love it. All right, so I said we're going to end on a banger here, and this one, I wasn't kidding. This one is based. This is the entire Valiant universe, essentially, right? This is Bob Layton.
Yeah. So this is V8. What you refer to as VH1, which is Valiant Heroes 1. Mm-hmm. So when Dinesh bought Valiant and they brought it back, that's VH2. Okay. So this is the original cast and crew. And I'd seen an idea of this on Bob Layton's website. And so I emailed him and I said, hey, I want exactly the same look and layout and feel, except I want a few extra characters added, because he did not have, in the original one, he did not have Rye, he did not have Magnus, Solar, or Turok. He had Quantum and Woody, which was technically some characters that were added later. And so I said, how much would that run me? We exchanged a couple of emails. This is last Thursday at the time. So this is 10/13 as we're recording this.
Yeah, because this was a late edition by Jason. Just a few days ago, he sent this one to me.
Yeah, and so he said we agreed on the price. I paid him. He said it's going to be 2 to 4 weeks. He emails me Monday morning with this PDF, and I couldn't wait to get it up. And this is when I sent it to you. I'm like,
so good.
Because he got it out so fast. I actually got it in the mail today. So I actually have it in my hand now. But but with the all the characters, Bob Layton did so many inks, was so instrumental in a lot of what was going on in those days of Valiant. It just tickled a lot of that nostalgic funny bone for me, and it's definitely one that's going to be hitting the walls there pretty soon.
Awesome, dude. I mean, congrats on that. I mean, that's like the definition of like a one and done wall piece for one of your major, that's like one of your biggest fandoms there with Valiant. So
yeah, I mean,
you have a hand. There you go. There you
go. And to think that, okay, you in 1 week's time not only did all of this, you're not just talking about pencils, all the inking details, and you got it back to the person. That's customer service too, as an aside.
That's freaking excellent.
Yes, I love his Windsor Smith style. Barry Windsor Smith's one of those other artists, by the way, as an aside, that I would love to get some art of, but it's
yeah. Good luck on that one. Keep me posted.
So I picked this up. I just thought this would be funny. Say, Brian, what are we gonna do tonight? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Is that Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah. This is Pinky and the Brain.
Oh, Pinky and the Brain. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. And so the Mike DiCarlo did the inks on that. So sweet. He did the inks for the Death in the Family, and a lot.
Nice. I love it when people bring bonus pieces there at the end.
And so if you're of a certain age, you remember Animaniacs and the Pinky and the Brain stuff. And Ron Paulson's a really nice guy. And
definitely watched Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain when I was a kid. Yeah. For sure. Oh man, well, great lineup of art that you shared here tonight, man. I appreciate you hopping on the show and sharing it with everybody. And And I'm excited to have you part of our art group chat that we have. So I will connect you in with everybody else after we wrap up here. But is there anything else you want to mention or plug? Like I said, Southern Comic Geek on YouTube, Instagram, Jason Richardson on CAF. All those links are below. I think you have other links. I included your like link tree that takes you to like everything Southern Comic Geek related. But yeah, man, I'll let you wrap it up however you want, and then we'll say goodnight.
Well, thanks again for having me on. Thanks again for everybody that's coming out and watching us show off our expensive pieces of paper. And if you haven't already done so, give this man a sub up.
Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Give him a thumbs up for this video. But yeah, it's a fun time always talking about the pieces, and the age of the internet allows us to be able to do that vast miles apart, as opposed to back in the day where you had to be secretly a nerd. Now it's fashionable. Oh yeah, cool stuff.
Wear that nerd pride on your sleeve. You know what I mean? That's what we do here. So, all right, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody in the chat. We got Tony NYC in the chat. We got Andy, David Barr, Geeks and Drinks, JP, Andy, Ruben, all you guys, Jackson Roy Kirk, Jeff Wedding. I appreciate all you guys watching. Imperious Flex, good to see you as well. Barbarian Kung Fu, Knights of Old, all you guys. Thank you for hanging out. And make sure you go sub up to Southern Comic Geek and enjoy the outro clip. And that's it. Have a great night and have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.
Where do I begin? I see the hate, they don't want to see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in a win. I don't want it all. Heard this game, I had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. Been through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, it's not a purse, it's a merch. 6 figures was a gold, now it's 9 or a hearse. Put it work. Used to pull up, not swerve. No time for the snakes, time to put them in the dirt. That's word. I gotta get it, it's in my DNA. You only see the highlights, don't know what it takes. Last year stressing, got no sleep. Now I'm right between the courts, I don't know bleed. I see the